This group research presentation sought to investigate the links between student behaviour and academic performance. In the initial stages of our investigation, our group divided this broader research topic into several more focused areas. To understand more about our broader research topic, we conducted our own literature reviews into our chosen focus areas. Our literature reviews analysed over 120 different journal articles, examined the data of 106 meta-analyses, and compared dozens of different perspectives and contexts. Sifting through the data to find meaningful information was time-consuming but fruitful. Farisha, Aya, Sherry, and Susan focused more on the learned skills of students, how they are socialised, and the impact of inclusive classrooms.
I discovered there was a strong correlation between positive teacher-student relationships and higher than average academic outcomes. My literature review provided definitive evidence that when students have a strong working relationship with their teachers, students are more motivated, more willing to push themselves, and more willing to seek advice and support when needed.
I focused on how inclusive classroom supports learning. Like Farisha, I discovered that when the teacher and student relationships are positive and inclusive, not only does academic performance improve, but also students improve in their communication skills, develop cultural sensitivity, learn to work collaboratively, and generally have a more positive attitude towards school.
Investigated the link between socioeconomic status, ethnicity, and religion on academic performance. Most of the literature I encountered dealt with SAS status and academic performance. The majority of the articles I analyzed showed that students from a high SAS background were advantaged by their wealth and had measurably higher levels of academic performance. I found that low SAS students derived a lower sense of achievement from education and as a result experienced comparatively lower test scores.
My literature review was slightly different. I focused on social skills and how they impact academic results. Research showed that socially acceptable behaviour allowed students to construct a social context for learning. Students whose social skills were acceptable to the majority were able to focus more on the task of learning. Students who were unable to behave in a way that was acceptable to their peers and teachers struggled to participate in their own learning.
To take a different angle again, I analysed how a student's gender impacts behaviour and academic performance. The only significant piece of data I could find stated that changes in testosterone in boys at certain stages in puberty were a strong predictor of negative behaviours. But the larger body of work in this area stated the same thing over and over. The difference between male and female cognitive function varied only a tiny amount and therefore could not be a useful tool to measure a link between behaviour and academic performance.
What our literature review clearly showed was that student behavior is largely created from the environment that the student lives within. When the student has great relationships, feels safe, included, and accepted, there is a greater chance for that student to succeed and have better academic results than students who do not have the same positive experience.
What they did not show was whether gender or other biological factors have a measurable impact upon behaviour and academic performance. We suspect that there may be some biological factors which could impact academic performance and behaviour, but the focus of gender was too limiting. If we have investigated cognitive conditions such as autism or ADD, we may have found different results.
After we had conducted our literature reviews, we each went and conducted research related to our individual focused ideas to see what we could find. Each person in the group took a different approach to researching the ideas and had some interesting results.
Despite finding little evidence that gender impacts academic performance in my literature review, my action research study found that girls were better behaved and had better results. Boys tended to be more aggressive when their behaviour was poor, which matched some of my research on testosterone levels. However, I found that the result was really only useful for the class due to the small sample size and the time constraints surrounding the collection and analysis of data.
As my literature review suggested, my own research confirmed good teacher-student relationships helped improve students' results. However, I found that teachers were the ones who were the key to developing that relationship.
My research data showed that students need to adopt well-established social skills to achieve success. Participants in my study pointed out how teachers need to be the classroom social capital by ensuring students understand the best method of learning for themselves, which would allow for an effective and harmonious classroom.
To narrow the focus of my research to study only the relationship between SES status and academic performance. My research confirmed the findings of my literature review. I discovered that the stigma attached to low SES students contributed most to their academic performance. They expressed a desire to be appreciated and encouraged by their teachers, the same as high SES students and high performing students.
My research showed that without a whole school approach to inclusivity, even the best efforts of a group of dedicated teachers would unlikely have an effect. Encouraging growth mindset in the student population would assist in making the school environment more welcoming and help students be more confident in their ability to learn.
Based on our literature reviews and individual data collection and analysis, we worked together to create our own action research study. We know that students who have high SES background, good social skills, positive relationships with their teachers, and go to an inclusive school generally have better academic outcomes. We also know that the student's gender alone does not have a measurable impact upon academic achievement, which is why we propose to conduct an action research study into the difference in academic results between the genders when a positive psychology lesson is regularly delivered to students.
Positive psychology lessons, or PP, have the capacity to encompass many of the areas we researched, as PP focuses on developing the cognitive and emotional capacity to deal with problems so that students can experience more positive outcomes. We hypothesized that because students benefit academically from good social skills, relationships, and inclusivity, that teaching these things to students will result in an improvement in academic performance. In order to test the effect of positive psychology lessons upon academic performance, we worked as a team to craft a research question. Our research question will be the following: will teaching students social and relationship skills through positive psychology lessons result in an improvement in academic scores? Our research question will be tested through an action research approach. Action research is designed to create meaningful data for teachers on a small scale and to a specific context. However, we believe that the data from our action research may support other schools when trying to understand the causes of academic performance and ways to improve it.
Our action research project would study 3 classes of 30 students each in Year 8. One class would receive positive psychology lessons twice a week. The second class would receive 1 lesson per fortnight, and a third class would act as a control and receive no positive psychology lessons during the study period. To conclude our presentation, we believe that our proposed action research study will provide new knowledge that considers the research we have each undertaken. We hope that our study will be able to share a definitive answer to whether supporting students through positive psychology will have an impact upon their academic performance. We believe that this research, regardless of the result, will provide useful information that teachers within the cited context can use to adjust their teaching to better support their students.
With this approach, we could also measure the scores of boys versus girls to determine the impact of positive psychology upon their academic results. There are some ethical considerations to deal with. The biggest one is accessing student data. We would have to work with the schools and Department of Education to ensure that student privacy is protected and that students have informed consent to participate in the study.
We feel that the findings, regardless of the outcome, will show us how teaching personal and social capabilities can impact student performance. The results may help shape a school-wide approach to teaching and may also help teachers adjust their pedagogy to support students to be better people in order to be better learners.
To conclude our presentation, we believe that our proposed action research study will provide new knowledge that considers the research we have each undertaken. We hope that our study will be able to share a definitive answer to whether supporting students through positive psychology will have an impact upon their academic performance. We believe that this research, regardless of the result, will provide useful information that teachers within the cited context can use to adjust their teaching to better support their students.